Okay, I've tried doing this a couple different ways, and I really like the first video that I did, and I'm not done yet. Like, that was a rant, and out of the heat of the moment and the passion of frustration with everything. But I want to talk now about how it does get better. Like, that last one was about how to fix things. This one's about it does get better to you. I'm gonna just take you on a journey through my life, and it's gonna be a long one because I went through a lot of crap growing up. But the very first time I ever knew that I was gay, or that it was brought to my attention. I had been called since second grade, first grade. People called me a fag and gay, and I didn't know what it was. I had no clue what it was, and I didn't care. As a kid, you're like, okay, whatever, someone call me a name. In second grade, I had a teacher who pulled me out of class and told me to stop holding other boys' hands. Her exact words were, "Boys don't hold other boys' hands." Point in fact, today we know, and I know, that they do. What she was trying to do was save me years of ridicule, and she did in a lot of ways. But she should never have done it. It should never have been allowed to get to that point to where she would tell me to change who I was. It really did screw me up growing up. I mean, the conflict between who you are and who you're not, and putting on a show, hiding who I was. And no child should be forced to hide who they are. But once again, she was trying to be a good person, and I still didn't know what the word gay meant at that point. I didn't know that that was gay. I just knew that I liked holding other boys' hands. I was attracted to other boys in second grade. Like, I had crushes on boys. So it happens very young. And apparently she saw it and she knew it. So I've always been out there, and I've always been easy to read. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So anyway, that next year was third grade. I remember getting called fag again. Several times, and I finally got to the point, I think in third or fourth grade, I looked up the word gay in the dictionary, and I read it, and it basically said that whenever two men like each other, homosexual is another word for it. And I'm like, this is me. I realized that I wasn't the only one, and I thought for years I was, having grown up in that small city in Texas. And so at that point I knew I was going to be okay, that there were others out there, and that I was going to find someone someday that was gay. And so I never had a problem being gay until I started realizing how horrible people were treating me. Like, it didn't associate for a few more years, but I think fifth grade, I have a journal somewhere that I wrote, and I was going through it, and it said in fifth grade, I like this boy named something, I don't remember what his name was, and I need to keep it quiet. I can't tell anyone because I told someone at school, and they said that was gay and I was a faggot, and fear in my writing was just, this is scary and I can't tell anyone, I can only tell my journal, which is interesting because it was a journal that I was keeping in class that the teacher was grading. And if my parents had been more involved in my school life, they probably would have seen that journal entry in fifth grade and known that I was homosexual at that point in time, which I think they always did know. But I think that knowing and knowing are two different things. So fifth grade was kind of the understanding, and where the fear was really placed in my heart and my soul for it. I remember in fourth grade, this kid, Noel was his name, and he would beat me up every single day on the playground, and the teachers would stand there and watch. They would just like turn the other cheek, or not turn the cheek, turn a blind eye, and they didn't let other kids go through the torment that I went through. I think the teachers thought they were doing me a favor. They were going to beat the feminine out of me, or they're going to beat the gay out of me, and that's not how it works. And I think that they were trying to let the kids toughen me up. I don't know. I can't say what they were thinking. Obviously, they weren't thinking correctly, is what I do know. It should never have been allowed to happen. Excuse me. Bailey, come here. So that was that was my elementary school. Sixth grade was pretty bad too. I started actually dating a girl in sixth grade. She was a redhead that was legally blind, and I loved her as a friend. She was one of the very first friends I ever had in school, and that was in sixth grade. I didn't have friends. I was ridiculed and by everybody, by everyone. I had 2 teachers that probably liked me growing up. Even the teachers hated me. I remember in 6th grade or 7th grade, I always went. I was a soft-hearted kid and I would cry a lot, but I had with reason. I got beat up. I got made fun of. I went to my parents at one point in 7th grade. I would sob, and I would be like, I don't want to go back. They're horrible to me, and I couldn't tell them everything they were saying, but I did tell them a few times that they called me gay and how much it hurt me. And I would sit there for hours just crying, couldn't get my homework done, couldn't sleep at night. I would pray for God to take it away, to take the gay away and make me normal and make me like everybody else. And I'm here to tell you that that's the wrong thing to be praying for. You need to be praying for understanding and protection, and for God to send someone to you to be there for you, not pray to change. I think it's important to identify things that are wrong with you and change the things that are wrong, but homosexuality does not mean that you are wrong, that you're glitched, that you're flawed. It is just who you are. And I wish that someone had sat me down and told me that instead of saying, you need to change. So let's go on to 7th, 8th grade, middle school, or junior high school was awful. Once again, I wish I could tell you everything that happened to me. It was just on a daily basis. People would hold me down. The first time I ever really tried to defend myself was in 7th grade. This kid named Andy was one of my biggest bullies ever, and he one day at the tennis courts called me a faggot. Was wearing a white shirt at the tennis. It was a tennis practice, and was wearing a white shirt, and he took a Powerade, and it was red, and he threw it all over me, and it was just from head to toe. And as he did it, he said, I don't know what YouTube's rules are on cussing and stuff, but he quote unquote called me a fucking faggot, and it was said with such anger and disgust. It made me feel like I was 2 inches tall and that there was something wrong with me, and I flipped out. Like, I had him on the ground, I beat the crap